Good evening, everybody. We got here another 1v1, this time on Atacama, a very open map with the main wood lines in the middle. We do see in the blue, in the eastern side, Hera playing as the Sicilians, and then his enemy, the world-famous Viper, playing as the Vikings in the red. Of course, Vikings being a very strong civilization when it comes to economy. They get those free upgrades once hitting the next age, and that really adds up quite a bit. And then the Sicilians, of course, being one of the newer civilizations, people still trying to figure out what the perfect meta is for this civilization. As far as maps go, of course, this map, as mentioned before, is very open, very difficult to wall off. We do have little clumps of trees surrounding the starting town center, but right off the bat, the players will go straight forward into the main central area and start to chop wood on these actual forests. As far as getting started out, it's always important, of course, in this map to get a little bit of a lead, a little bit of an advantage. Any advantage can really snowball in this map, specifically military. If you can take power over the center of the map, it really puts your enemy in a stranglehold. Now, of course, both of these players are well known for their micro, both very, very fast players, both able to quick wall, able to react, able to micro armies to dizzying speeds in comparison to most other pros. So we will see exactly what it is that they decide to go for. As we do see the Viper, he is moving forward. He does see that wood line of Hera, and he knows exactly what's going on. When we take a look at Hera's fog of war, he has not yet scouted the Viper. He is still just pushing in deer, trying to get a little bit of an eco advantage. Does have a deer rotting there, but he does immediately send another villager there, and a goat rotting away here as well. Both players on the way up to the next age. Hera deciding to wait to get 21 villagers rather than the typical 20. And both of the players now do have loom. I am going to slow it down as we see the Viper with a forward barracks, well, somewhat forward. And he does have inside of that barracks 3 militia. He will be looking to do some sort of a drush. Of course, with the Viking economy, you do have that ability. Viper will be first up to the next age, and we'll see exactly what he goes for. Will he upgrade these to man-at-arms? Once he sees the wall, that might change his mind. But likely what we would see is an archer build eventually out of the Viking player. Barracks going up at home for Hera as well, and he has safely walled in his woodline. He will now not need to worry too much about anything, as he is pretty safe on the front, and his berries might be a little bit open, but he will see this drush coming. He will wall in his second woodline as well, and just able to keep his scout alive. As the man-at-arms are coming forward, we do see he did take those 2 goats from Hera. So Hera was looking around for those goats for quite a while, but unable to find them. Now this drush into man-at-arms rush has kind of petered out a little bit, but it is open on the other side of this wood line here, so Hera smartly noticing that and walls off on the other side as well, just to add that little bit of protection, just in case a tower or archers, which are coming forward now, were to come forward to his wood line. The man-at-arms are going to just be a nuisance as much as possible. Once 1-2 archers are in here, very little that man-at-arms are going to be able to do, as the archers will be able to micro them down pretty easily. This archer here just a little bit too late, unable to deny the wall off, but will get a couple of shots for free. Just weakening the villager, will not get a kill at this point in time. Mind you, at this same time, the Viper has been untouched. He has been the aggressor, so that always adds a little bit of extra help, as he doesn't have idle time in walling off his base. In fact, he's not walled off at all. Not worrying about that. He is pretty badly housed right now. Always a big issue when you get housed this severely. But he has had overall a little bit of more of a bustling economy, both with the same number of villagers now, and he does have the free Viking upgrades too. That will just put him so much more ahead for the economy. If we take a quick look at the resources of each of these players, fairly close, low resources for everything. It is going to be all coming from efficiencies, and these archers now able to hit the wood lines. Won't get a vill pick yet, but able to engage against villagers as well as the archers for Hera. We do see 2 archers forward into the back of the Viper's base, but he does have 2 skirms in response. Those skirmishers will be able to clean it up pretty easily, as Hera is getting pushed fairly hard now on in his own base. Does have these skirmishers fighting back, so Hera unable to really counterpunch as much as he would like to, but still no villagers go down there, and a stable starting to come up now as eco upgrades are coming in for the Viper, but military has stopped producing. Hera starting to float a little bit more food with this stable coming up. He will look to clear out, and he does clear out the entirety of the Viper's army. Just a couple shots left on these 2 archers. They will make it home safe, possibly heal up in the town center or something, but they will not be as aggressive as the beginning. Of course, fletching coming in for both of them, and now +1 defense will be in for both of the players. So these archers are getting their upgrades. Scouts are coming forward for the Sicilian player Hera, and with the scouts coming out, that will turn the tides of battle. Of course, skirmishers, which are starting to get massed with a couple of archers as well for the Viper, skirmishers will go down to scouts very, very easily. And the Viper trying to be sneaky with these weak archers and skirmisher, just hiding in the back for now. Likely won't do too much damage to begin with, but let's see exactly what he's capable of, as the main force of Hera's army is coming forward. Will be able to clean up these archers and skirmishers with this scout as well. All of a sudden, the Viper in a little bit of a tricky situation. That scout taking a ton of HP damage away from those archers, which is exactly what you want for having a scout at this point in the game. Just able to take the arrow fire, able to soak it in and let the archers clean up the rest of the army. Now we are down to just 2 skirmishers. Viper pulling out villagers to take out the scout, and at the same time attacking the food economy of Hera, but they will get cleaned up by that scout. Just able to clean up, caused a little bit of a delay, nothing too major for that engagement. Luckily, Viper had his 2 military buildings sitting right here, able to supply the army to reinforce faster than Hera could attack. And now we see both players starting to creep up with numbers of food. Both players really looking to get to the next age. Hera even idling his military buildings, his town center, and he clicks up to the next age just as he loses the remainder of his army. Militarily, fairly close, 6-5 right now, and we do have a 2 villager lead for Hera. The Viper, of course, does, as mentioned a couple of times before, have the better economy as far as upgrades go, but 3 scouts now coming in. They will cause havoc on this wood line, but a little bit too much army for the Viper right now. Unable to engage before Bloodlines comes in. That is still on its way. And right now, the Viper, he is getting the first armor upgrade for his cavalry, but does not yet have a stable out. We might be looking at knights once the next age hits, but I don't quite see where a stable is going to be getting placed, as there it is, right at the front there. That will add a little bit of pressure when he starts to go forward. And of course the gold getting walled in just in time. The archers will come to support as well. And this is a bit of a back and forth. It's anyone's game at this point in time. Little bit of edges here and there. Both of these players, such strong players. Just really able to take on any other players in the world on any day. But the stable has been scouted by Hera. Knights immediately coming out for Hera. 3-knight production at home. And let's see exactly what he can do with that little bit of an edge. He has a little bit of time to build up a few knights. And Viking players going for the economic advantage. He is adding in his second town center now. Possibly could see a third eventually, as these scout cavalry kill one villager, but unable to do too much more. Taking a look at the economy of Hera, still just on the one town center. Doesn't look to be building a second anytime soon. With 3-knight production, difficult in early Castle Age to really do anything more than just produce those knights. Already unable to produce out of all 3 of those stables. But still, this is a pretty large number of crossbowmen. That is 14 crossbows, 1 knight. I think there needs to be a few more knights before this engagement can come through, especially with all these little tiny chokeholds that the Viking player can hide within. But those knight numbers are starting to creep up for Hera, as he is gaining a little bit here and there of an advantage. But with these archers, of course, Vikings having very strong archers, it will be difficult to engage, and he's doing the right thing, splitting up his army, attacking here, attacking there. These 3 knights are distracting. They've got to kill, but they're doing, more importantly, distracting the entire army of the Viper, as Hera is really pushing hard right here on stand ground stance on this knight. But very, very good aggression for Hera. He does have a 7-villager lead right now. He is behind for military numbers, but knights obviously 1v1, very strong compared to crossbows. Crossbows having to rely on mass. But Hera, he does fall back slightly with his numbers of knights attacking on a few different angles, still trying to distract wherever possible. And we will see this entire army of crossbows stay clumped together for the remainder of the game, hopefully, as if they are caught out 3-4 crossbows at a time, they can be picked off very easily by the knights. The Viper having to flee from that wood line altogether. He does make it out before the house goes down, and so it's not too big of a deal. But now Hera just still attacking. The Viper unable to really respond to the multiple groups of knights, as the crossbows do have to stick together. He is not choosing the battles, he is playing on Hera's terms, and that is causing big delays. Hera, of course, on his second town center now, and he will continue the knight production, trying to stream as many knights across the map as possible. He does have a big army right now. That's 14 knights against 25 crossbows. Of course, whether the battle is out in the open or whether it is in a little choke point, that would make a huge impact on who wins that fight. And we see the Viper still on 2 town centers, and still with a slight bill disadvantage. These knights, Hera doing a great job distracting with only a couple of knights. As his main force starts to bulk up, he is getting as much as possible. He already has +2 defense on his knights, and he is looking to distract this army. Viper going very far away from his economy right now, but Hera not quite attacking yet. he is going to wait till he gets to that mass of knights before he engages. But speaking of mass, crossbows, there are 30 crossbows here. All will be together soon. And with that number, he will be able to take out knights, even with that +2, very easily. And now, getting the pikeman upgrade, the Viper looking to get some form of defense on the front against these knights. He actually is losing houses left, right, and center. He might end up getting housed if he doesn't start building new houses fairly quick. And there he is. He does get housed, actually. Before this town center can go up, he is very badly housed right now. That is a technique that's not seen very often in pro games, taking out the houses. Usually we see beginner players starting to do that, because usually with the pro teams, it's difficult to really engage to such a degree that you get them housed. But little advantages here and there, as the third town center is now up for the Viper. Third town center is now up for Hera. But a 10 villager lead right now for Hera. This is 25 knights against 34 crossbows. Out in the open, this is not an engagement that these crossbows want to get into, but they will go into the protection of the town center. Hera unable to get a good engagement, good micro there from Viper, but he does get the surround. Those crossbows are going into that little chokehold there. They will reduce the surface area that they are able to be attacked on, but still quite a back and forth as Hera is sending knights all over the place. With this +2, able to fight underneath the town center, able to take out villagers, and there is now nearly a 20-vill lead, and just like that, that engagement, the crossbows go down, and Hera takes the win. Just the constant threat of knights, the quicker uptime, able to get that little bit of an advantage here on this wood line and just continue to pump knights across. The Viper had no real way of combating the mobility of the Knights of Hera. Great play by Hera. Great game.